Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gator Light, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gator Light hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Coach Unplugged is brought to you by great people over at teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. Here is your host, Steve Collins.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged, episode 599. I'm super excited about today's podcast. We're going to talk about kind of building a program, but even more important than that, simplifying things. Because I know we don't do a great job of simplifying things, but talk about simplifying things. Let's talk about the sponsor for today's podcast. This episode is brought to you by the people over at Ladder. So Ladder, you're thinking, oh God, we're cutting the nets down. No, this is a supplement that Arnold Schwarzenegger and LeBron James started. I don't remember the exact year they started it. They used some of the top scientists in the world to come together to find this clean product, because a lot of supplements are crud. And they came together, found this, had a third party kind of verify that everything was good. And they sent me some, because before I put them on my podcast, I wanted to try it out. My son had taken a couple weeks off of his workouts, and it was great. There are different things. There's pre-workout, there's post-workout. It's a great time to join this right now. I know a lot of people are doing individual workouts. And the great people over Ladder said, basically, we want to help the coaches and the players that are out there. So use the code BETTEREVERYDAY and you'll get 30% off. Better every day, because we all want to get better every day. Can't imagine anybody that doesn't want to get better every day. So go over and check it out. Maybe I'll get to meet LeBron James. You never know. Might work out. Might not too. All right. Bye. And I hope you enjoyed this week's Q&A with Damien. It's great. It's talking about building a program, how we can simplify things and make it easier on ourselves. So I think you'll really enjoy this week's podcast. Here we go. Coach Unplugged. All right, we're here with Damien. Help me pronounce your last name. I'm living in Wisconsin, so pronouncing names I'm horrible at pronouncing names. But help me with your last name again.
My last name is Barrera.
Barrera. It's all that. Yeah, I got to get those R's going. Okay, so tell us a little bit about you first before we get going here.
Well, my name is Damien. I coach in Southern California for the girls basketball program in Orange County.
Okay.
And we are a Division 5 AA school right now, which is pretty much second to last, not last, depending on what teams are in there, and for the Division 6. And I've been coaching for 4 years, going into my 5th, and this will officially be my first year as head coach of the girls basketball program.
Okay. And what size is that in relation to people listening?
The size of the school is about 2,000, and we're kind of probably in the middle, I guess, as far as but it's very. In our city, we actually have 8 high schools. So just to give you a kind of a breakdown, we have a couple private. Actually, if you throw in the private schools like Mater Dei, which is a powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
In all sports,
right.
They're they're a private school. So we have about, actually the city of Santa Ana, we have about anywhere between 12 and 14 high schools, I believe.
That's crazy.
So it's very.
So questions you have. I know you asked about a couple things in the bottom. You just took over the program, so this is perfect for everybody that's listening. So go ahead and ask those, and then we can go through any questions you have.
Yeah. So when I first started coaching here, I kind of came from more of a basketball town where everyone in the town that I grew up in, you're born with a basketball in your hand. And,
right.
And so it was very high level. The girls program at my high school when I was playing ball, they've won about 12 state championships, a couple national championships.
Okay.
And so when I came to this school, my mind was, okay, well, high level basketball. And I've learned the hard way that, hey, I got to start basically like I'm coaching 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds as far as basketball.
Right. So the girls haven't played a lot before you get them?
No organizing. About 99% no organized experience before their freshman year in high school.
Okay. And wow. So you are literally starting from the beginning. So do you have feeder programs that feed into your school?
Well, here's the interesting part about our city is that we're an open enrollment district, and we were once the brand new shiny school, and now we're not. And most of the reputation is there's a couple better high schools where the feeder program goes into that school. And it's hard just to bring kids here just because of the reputation of, bad academics, the neighborhood's a little rough. And so we have so it's hard for parents to want to send their kids.
What's your solution to that?
My solution is that the other, I would say the powerhouse program as far as public schools in our district, they're having a lot of turmoil, some scandals that are, coaches were being inappropriate with the girls. So I think I've had a few parents actually hear about what we're doing for our girls. And I think that's kind of been nice that, we've been approached by parents that would usually never send their girls to our school just because of the culture and environment we're creating in our program.
Right. And I think that's what I was hoping you were going to get to. I think it's all about culture. So I would, I don't know if how much you've mapped out the year, but I would definitely start thinking about getting, it's a lot easier to sell them on the person you are and the program you want to run at the younger age than when they're just coming in. So I know stuff I did initially was I ran I got out in the community. I ran free clinics. I ran free thing. Now I'm charging because I have a reputation, but then I was just trying to make connections and relationships with people so they could see what I was about, especially in a big city like that. And parents are always looking for something, even if you charge $5, it doesn't matter. But just so you are building some relationship, because you got to think about this as a marathon, not a sprint. And, and it's really hard. And it's really hard in our profession to do that because we're judged on quantitative rather than qualitative values. And this gig is more qualitative than it is quantitative. It's more about the relationship. So that would be the first thing, especially if that's going down in the city. I would try to do that. I don't know the rules in California. Can you have contact with your girls in the off season and stuff like that?
Yeah, we pretty much go all year round if we want to. I've just started actually spring basketball. We bought spring basketball to this school last year, and it actually paid a lot of dividends as far as win losses and kind of creating that culture.
Yep.
So and this year we're beginning again.
Right, and I think it's about building that, like just getting in the gym. Some days are going to be good days, some days are going to be bad days. We're doing this together. It's kind of like going off into battle. You want to fill that. So I would try to do as much of that. Do you have problems with multiple sports athletes?
I do, but because of what we kind of created, we're actually starting to become, it's kind of funny, usually the programs that are losing a lot aren't this way, but because of the culture we put a lot of emphasis on, we've actually kind of become the group on school that a lot of the girls want to join. Whereas before, 4 years ago when I got there, we had these athletic girls and they would play soccer instead of basketball. And now they're actually starting to come over to our side, which is kind of nice.
Well, and I think it's the kind of thing that you build to these girls. And I remember doing this too. It's like, you are going to be the ones that people are going to talk about 10 years from now. You're going to be the ones that turn this thing around. You're going to be the ones that, are they going to be the leaders that, I think you got to feed on that a little bit because they still are teenage kid. I call it their ego food. You got to give them some ego food, and the ego food is you are going to be this group that's going to help us put us on the map.
Absolutely. And I think we created some new traditions where the seniors kind of give a speech at the end of when we had the banquet a couple months ago, and you can really tell that every younger, lower level girl was really looking up and, hey, I want to be like Kate, or I want to be like Maybelline. And it's been nice that everyone's kind of coming back and they're still hanging around the gym, kind of talking to the lower level girls. So it's starting to become something special, which is nice.
And the thing is, especially if you do run a camp and you do charge or something, and it's whatever it is, or you run it through the Y or whatever, then I always always love getting those alums back. I give them a couple $100 or something, and get them to they make a little cash. I get them in the gym. I get some workers. It's a win-win for everybody. But it's building that community. That's
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I'm putting that down.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Wherever you can build community. I mean, I'll have my team. So it's ball. Well, they should be, I guess, if it's snowing. But like I'll have them. And I've said this before. I don't know where I've said it, but I build my relationships with my guys not during the basketball season. I build my relationships with them in the off season, because I don't have anything they want at this point. I mean, I have it down the line, but this is when they can see me as a person. I have them over to my house. We'll do a barbecue. We'll do that kind of stuff. All that stuff is so that basically what I'm doing is I'm depositing money into the bank so that when I have to get on John in January, I can pull from that bank and he still knows that I really got his back, that I'm doing it out of, I'm doing it out of love. I'm doing it out of expectations like a parent does. If you only yell at your kids, you don't have anything in that bank to pull on. So I think especially when you're building programs, that's super important to be able to do that. Especially over time. That's a great point,
because we did a lot of team bondings and it was great. But now that you mentioned it, it'd be nice to do that during the off season. That way we're kind of ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
Rather
and the
than
thing is, during the team bonding is great, and I take my teams. We go on some trips and stuff. That is really good for them building with each other. But I'm still the guy that decides who goes in when and who shoots what and that kind of stuff during the season. So it's harder, I think, especially when you're building something, to build that in during the battle. It's a lot easier to build it outside of the stresses of the season. And mom says I should be playing more and shooting more. And, Aunt Sally came to the game and I didn't play, and all that kind of stuff is going on outside. So it's a lot easier during the summer when there's maybe not as much, or the spring or whatever, as much of that kind of stuff going on.
Right.
You wrote on here rebound. You wrote on here a couple things that you really wanted to talk about too.
Yeah, the first one was rebounding and the second one was communication.
Okay.
And we're that team definitely trying to make those long possessions. We do have a shot clock here in California, 30 seconds for the girls. And so we definitely have to be in the 40s. Right now, we're trying to create, and actually I use a lot of those templates that everyone's been putting up for shooting programs and everything.
Good.
And the ones that you've been putting up as well. And they've been working. I mean, we've done it for a week, and because our level, we start so low, we have such a high ceiling now that after a week is just night and day.
If people don't know, I put in our community, I put a shooting template that basically keeps track of shots. I did it for my son. Now I set that like the 40% for threes, 50% for twos, and like 80%. So you'll notice there's colors changing. If they're not meeting it, it will change the colors. So if you want me to tweak any of those percentages, just send me an email and I'll tweak them for you.
Okay, that would be great.
They're high right now. So a lot of that stuff might be. So what I'm saying is, for people listening, it's like basically if you're like 2 for 3, that's 66 and 6%. The little box will be green. But if you're shooting, 20% from 3, the box will all of a sudden go yellow or red. And I'm just trying to give them indicators of whether they're doing well or not, just little positive and negative feedbacks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's, I've been tweaking it for about a year and stuff. Hey, everybody, I hope you're enjoying that podcast. The podcast. Let's talk about our sponsors. First of all, Veo, the sports camera, easy to use, affordable sports camera company. It's not the kind of camera like when I was growing up where you had to turn it every 30 seconds, depending on how fast your team played. This one's easy to set up. It comes in a little box. You set it up. You put it on top of the tripod. Boom, 180 degrees. It's AI technology is second to none. You won't miss anything. We all have these mounted. Some of us have these mounted ones in the gym right now. But the thing is, you need something that's portable when you go on the road, when you're scouting your opponents, when you're going other ways. Boom, you set this up. You can sit there and watch the game. You don't have to move the camera. You don't have to worry about it. It goes right up into the cloud. Great people over at Veo are giving us free shipping right now and $100 off. So if you go over and check out veo.co/unplugged When you check out, type in Unplugged 100 off. They will take really good care of you. They give you $100 off. They'll give you free shipping. Boom, it's there right away. All right, go over and check it out. Let's head back to the podcast. So let's talk about rebounding real quick. So how do you do rebounding now in practice or over those kind of things? Because it sounds like you're gonna have a small team.
Yeah, well, we play. I do a lot of different rebounding drills. We play man-to-man defense right now. Just keep it basic, and we'll have where help side rebounding, guarding, rebounding skills, that kind of stuff. But I just for the girls and their skill level, they're picking up man-to-man defense really well, which I think is a lot harder than the concept of rebounding. But for some reason, it's just we're a small team, and we're going to continue to be a small team because none of my freshmen are tall even.
Right.
And it's just one of those things where
girls,
how do I get
girls
them
don't
to make
grow.
that a habit?
Yeah. Girls don't grow late. When they're by the time they're freshmen and sophomores, if you're gonna have a tall team. Okay, so this is crazy, but we were all like 6'4" this year, so we were relatively small this year. So we had some rebounding issues too, and I don't remember which book I read it in, but basically what you emphasize, they're gonna do. And you can't emphasize 16 things, but if you emphasize 2 or 3, they will do them. So I put one assistant coach in charge of rebounding, and we emphasized it every day in practice. Now, emphasizing is fine. That will move it from like a D to a C. Then you have to do specific drills where you're like we play something called cutthroat, where I give different point values to different things. And offensive rebounding is like 4 points. We'll play to 12 or something. So we'll play little games where I'll emphasize not turning the ball over, or rebounding, or you get a point for defensive rebound. So we do little tweaks of that, depending on what we're emphasizing. But rebounding is always one of those because it's never in the stat. It's in the stat sheet, but it's never in the score. The score box, the box score,
right?
Never in that kind of stuff. So I have to emphasize it in practice and give rewards to it in practice, so they'll do it. And then it go again. Boys are a little different than girls, but I basically feed on the boys' egos, and then I also tell them that rebounding is for you. If you get an offensive rebound, I am never going to tell you not to shoot the ball right away again. So, so offensive rebounding is easy to sell. Then defensive rebounding is the one that's harder to sell. It's kind of like our charge thing. We give kids specific things if they take a charge because there's really no reward in it. It's the same thing with defensive rebounding. It's like you get something in practice, like extra points, you're the leading rebound, whatever. You have to emphasize defensive rebounding all the time because it's a habit of boxing out that has to occur. And all those drills are fine, but I have never found those drills, and everything I've read and seen, those drills are great. Izzo's probably one of the best rebounding coaches, and everything he does is competitive as far as rebounding goes. So every drill that he does, he has an element of rebounding in it. And if you've ever watched his teams, they're crazy on the boards.
Definitely.
And that's how he does it. I mean, obviously he has very athletic players and stuff, but they just rebound unbelievable in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons they are able to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So just try to make it a little bit more competitive, probably more a little bit game-like. Because we're also not even going against tall teams as well. So the fact that we're struggling with defensive rebounding is even more of a little bit of concern. But I think you're right. It's just more putting that emphasis. I think I was trying to do too many good things last year.
Yep.
And if I just kind of keep it to a few
I'm
things,
telling you, I can't handle turnover. My players would tell you right now that I'm like a Bo Ryan. I cannot handle when you turn the ball over. That is just like, because it's 3 points we couldn't score now. And it's 3 points. It's a 6-point turnaround every time you turn the ball over. So they know that I do not handle turnovers well. So that's one of my points of emphasis. You can't have 7 of them, but I have that on the top of my practice plan: turnovers, rebounding, whatever we're specifically that season we need to work on. So every day I'm pounding on that stuff. So you got to pick your battles. Basically, it's like parenting a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that 6-point turnaround. I think that's a good way to.
It could be. My coaches laugh because I'll say we're down 4 and I'll say it's a 1-possession game. So it could actually be an 8-possession game. But eight possession turnaround.
That's a little.
All right. So the other thing you wrote was communication.
Yeah. So I wrote there, like I said, we've built a culture so much that it's a very great environment for the girls, and a lot of the girl teams on the other sports, there's a lot of infighting, and we're kind of proud that we don't have a lot of that in ours.
Yep.
And, we obviously have that. We want some of it, that way we can grow from it, but
right.
for the most part, it's very, self-policing, where some have admitted to bullying and all that.
Yep.
It's been great, but that doesn't translate onto the court as well. And I'm trying to figure out why. Obviously the IQ is not there that maybe I had in high school, where it's just, hey, drag or drop or whatever it may be.
Yep. So
we're not having that.
So again, I'm stealing this quote. I don't know who said it, but a quiet gym's a losing gym. So I always tell that's something that you want to tell them all the time. Because
I love that.
Yeah, a quiet gym's a losing gym. So here's what I'm gonna. My boys hear this story all the time. I say, in the most important game you ever play in, you will not hear me. And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I go, well, if this gym is packed, which is, again, I'm the believer in you. Our goal is to win this thing, or districts or conference or whatever. I don't hide from it. Old schools hide from it. I don't hide. Our goal is this, and if our goal is not this, then you should go out for the ski team or something. I don't know, but you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
If your goal isn't this, you ain't in the right spot. So I put that out day one. I would put out that the next team meeting. Our goal is to win, and we want to win, and so we always talk about that. So anyway, so I'm talking about ours goes regional, sectional, state is the way ours goes. It's a little different, but anyway, in the sectionals, the game to go to the state tournament, we will play in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people, and it will be packed gym. Okay. And I tell the boys, you will not hear me. You might not hear the person standing next to you, let alone me. So you guys have to communicate, because what it's going to come down to is a ball screen. And if you don't talk to that ball screen, we're going to lose if you don't do this. So, we talking is a you're not talking, we stop practice. That is probably in our top 2 or 3. You can't play if you don't talk, because you can't play defense if you don't talk. So
right.
So if you're a man-to-man team, what I would do slowly over the spring is, if I'm guarding the ball, I make them call ball. Like, okay, I got ball. So then the other 4 people know they need to be in the help line. The other 4 people need to know where they are, or they're up the line, or depending on whether you're playing pack or those kind of things. So that's how you can start the communication, is the person that has the ball yells ball. So then the other 4 defenders know that person has ball. Then we can talk. You can add to that. That's what I would start with initially, until everyone's doing that all the time. And then the other stuff will happen with, hey, ball screen, screen right, all that kind of stuff is more advanced.
Right.
Start with calling ball. Once they get that down, then you can start calling, help line and ball screens and those kind of things. And I call them out on it. I go, you guys are Snapchat, and you're talking in the hallway, you're talking in the locker room, you're talking while you're stretching, but then as soon as we start playing, you stop. What's wrong with, no, the communication.
Yeah, definitely.
Going. And I'm sure it's the same with yours. I haven't found a coach that hasn't told me that's not the same.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that. I think sometimes I probably got a little bit too ahead of myself, where it's, it's just like any other progression, right?
Yep. So,
all right, we have to say this, you have to say that.
Yep. So and we'll talk again. This is only gonna be a half hour today, but we'll talk again. But what I would do is, like, you're a PhD and they're a middle school student. Like, you're a PhD student and they're a middle school student. So what you have to do is it's harder. Like when I'm a math teacher, so when I'm teaching pre-algebra, it's a lot harder than me teaching pre-calc, because I gotta go all the way back to when I had to add, like terms or something. For the math people out there will know what I'm talking about, but I got to go all the way back here to where I'm not. So that is really hard for you. So, I mean, hard for any coach. So what I would do is really try to kiss it. I'm sure you've heard of that. Keep it simple, stupid. Go all the way back on a piece of paper and simplify. This is how I'm going to teach the ball screen. This is how I'm going to teach helpline. And then the advanced stuff. So as soon as they get that, those progressions are going to be really easy for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, because you're dealing
I never
with.
thought about a progression. For communication.
Yep. So in the off season, you should think progression. How am I going to teach them man? How am I going to teach them my quick hitters? How am I going to teach them my out of bounds plays? How am I going to teach them how to come off the court and shake everybody's hands? How am I going to teach them how to huddle when there's a dead ball? We literally assume they know nothing. And this is really hard for me. I've been doing this 30 years, and it's like I have a piece of paper because I assume they know how to do it. And if the kids have been around, they do. But all these new kids come in, they don't know this is how we do pregame. This is how we do huddle. This is all that kind of stuff. You literally got to sit and do it. And I think that's in the community under basketball philosophy. I think I have a printout in there somewhere if you go and dig. Or I can find it for you. That I basically broke all that stuff down and say, that goes back to the communication part. You got to communicate to them if you want them to communicate with each other.
Right.
All right. So takeaways. Any takeaways? Anything you need help with? We'll do this again for sure.
Yeah. Well, this is a good start, and I just want to thank you. I know I've been looking for that mentor. Don't have anyone around here, so it's been kind of.
No, this will be
nice
awesome.
to see. Yeah.
I was doing office hours and it wasn't working, and we would get 3 or 4 people. This is better and especially with the spring and the summer, I am more free. So I'm gonna open it up again for people that weren't able to get in because the 5 of you signed up so fast. It was like, holy cow. So I'm going to sign it up for the next round. And then, if you have any questions, email me. I'm always checking that email or anything else. All right, Coach?
Well, thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate everything you do.
No problem. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hey, Coach. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe and like. Go over right now. Stop. Join teachhoops.com. Say, I want to become a better basketball coach. I want to win a state title. I want to learn what it takes to take my team to the next level. Well, I can help you do that. I've been through all the battles you've been through. Let me help you through this great process we call coaching. All right. Have a great day.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like touchdown, because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon, and it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.